So in this week's session, we're going to be looking at content marketing and digital creativity. In particular, we're going to be focusing on the elements that you need to consider when looking at content marketing and content marketing strategy. Now, this week's model that we're going to be looking at is a model that we've devised called GASP. The reason that we use models is that we need to break down the different elements involved in successful content marketing. The first thing that we need to establish is obviously the goals around the content marketing and really kind of the reasoning and purpose behind why. We also need to look at the audience that we're creating content for and looking at the story that we're going to create, all about our business and brand, but in particular about the content that we're creating. And this is to really kind of nurture your audience through to hopefully being an advocate or a paying customer of yours. The last bit stands for process, the most important aspect really of the whole framework. This process that we look at starts off with kind of the grounding of content marketing. So before we can kind of jump into goals, audience, story and process and looking at the GASP framework, first of all, we're going to look at what content marketing is. It's kind of the buzzword. It's been around for years. You'll find more and more businesses are really kind of looking to spend and ramp up budgets allocated towards content marketing. Content really is king in 2017. The reason why is content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, which ultimately is going to drive to profitable customer action. Now, the things that we're going to look at today are what is a profitable customer action? Really in content marketing, looking at a metric such as a subscriber or lead generation is something that is measurable in relation to how successful your content marketing is. Now, we also know that 61% of marketers say that improving SEO and growing organic presence is a top inbound marketing priority. Why? Well, when we look at content marketing and we look at people's online visibility, content is key here because the more content you produce, the more land that you own within search engines. So think about it like buying a new house on Google. So when you place content in the search engines matching someone's key term, then what we're trying to do is educate that person and provide this valuable, relevant content when they're exploring our products and services and related businesses. Now, inbound marketing is a great term. This kind of looks at you looking at, say, for instance, your website as a main content hub. I think it's really interesting to kind of understand that when we use, for instance, blogs and we produce a blog post and we publish it on our website, we might then distribute it through channels like email marketing. We might then put it onto social media channels. Then in turn, it will appear in search results. All of this content, this blog post that's being placed in other channels is going to drive inbound traffic, hence the term inbound marketing. Now, content strategy actually refers to the planning, the development and the management of content. So we're going to look at these 7 points of content marketing and content strategy. Now, the first section is obviously planning. Then we start looking at the audience, the stories, the channels, so important. Quite often that we see people producing content and it's just not reaching enough of their audience. It's not being placed or distributed in the right places. Now, the process is, again, fundamental because we need the actual physical actions and the people to do that. We also need to, when we're looking at measurement, understand conversation. Conversation is critical. Think about how we use content or digest content online. Quite often we'll see it in things like social media. Someone comment, liking and sharing and engaging with it means that it's successful content. Now, let's break down content marketing and let's look at how content marketing actually works. Well, the figure here looks at the 5 different types of content marketing media. Now, the first one we have paid, so things like advertising, pay-per-click ads, etc. Earned media, which in essence is really your PR. It's like public coverage that can come from maybe social media. You might have medium blogger or influencer responses or shares or engagement. Owned media is what we control. So things like your actual blog posts and your websites. It's the bit that we tend to kind of focus on quite a lot. Now, shared media is word of mouth, referrals, community-driven content, co-creation. Again, think about social media. And converged media is one that's been added into this mix fairly recently because, to be honest with you, we've gone from sort of multi-channel integrated digital marketing to omni-channel. We go from social media to web, back into YouTube, back into your social media, onto your website, onto a blog, onto a search engine. So converged media basically takes all of those and combines the four categories. So that sits comfortably in the middle. Now, you have overlaps as well. So for instance, you've got press coverage in your earned media, but you also have things like, sponsored content or customer sponsorship deals and things that you can have. The key here is that we need a mix of these different types of media for successful content marketing. You need a reach. The thing is if you kept emailing the same people who subscribe to your blog, yes, it will nurture those people through. But if we're looking to extend reach, maybe those people could look at the blog and share it to social media. But we may need to place that content ourselves into social media and maybe pay for additional advertising to boost that reach. We may have to get content into search engines and use pay-per-click adverts to position it on page 1 because no one's going to search for it on page 5. So think about content marketing and what this means to your business. So content marketing really does heavily link into SEO. SEO is an integral part of any digital marketing strategy, and this should be a focused element of it. So content marketing can really help your online visibility and your SEO. So content marketing at a glance, well, 62% of companies are basically saying that they outsource it. 91% of B2B businesses, business to business, are using content marketing because we know that it's so successful. This is kind of the tell not sell approach, which people tend to buy more. It's like on Amazon. Would you go and read a review? Yes, we want to know what that person thinks. It's a bit like TripAdvisor. We want to see what people think of that hotel rather than just the hotel's website. We'll use a variety of content to educate ourselves before going forth and buying. 87% of B2B marketers using social media to distribute content. Absolutely key. And things like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all key platforms that people are using. Again, video marketing on YouTube, when people talk about content going viral, it's not something that sits on YouTube. It has to go onto social media to get that reach. 54% of B2B marketers will increase the spend. We're seeing a massive, massive investment. But a lot of people are saying that the biggest challenge is actually creating the content. Now, we see this a lot. And when we look at the content marketing framework, we need to kind of break it down and consider a couple of things before we start, because every business that we talk to, it's the actual creating this consistent content on a kind of frequent basis, but good quality, and having the resource in-house to do that. Now, when we look at goals for content marketing, it's so important to understand kind of where you sit currently, what the purpose is. So many people just generate content because they want to. We need to understand what it's going to do. How is it going to nurture someone through their customer journey? We need to look at the mission. What is it we're trying to achieve? What is the whole positioning? And we need to consider the campaign, the cost savings, and business growth goals. There's no point generating content if it's going to have a massive impact and still generate the same amount of leads. What we need to be doing is generating the same amount of leads at a lesser cost. So content marketing is great for nurture strategies and actually lead generation and building your database. Now, you imagine you post something into social media and somebody clicks on it to get a free guide. They enter the most valuable thing in business today, an email address. So we need to consider who our audience are. let's look at sort of personas. What is that valuable content that's going to really help somebody? And we're not looking at products and services you offer. We're looking at the experience you're going to deliver at a particular stage of the customer's journey. So what content can you help that customer journey's buying process speed up? How can you make it richer? How can you make them choose you? Now, the story side of things is all about delivering value through content by building strong consumer relationships that can be nurtured into thriving communities. So this is when we consider what the story is, the angle, and the distribution channels that you're going to use to get that content out. So much content in business is underutilized. We see businesses creating a video and sharing it once. Video can be repurposed and so can content. You know, even if you had a sales presentation, that's the sort of content you could probably break down and turn into blog articles. We're not talking about the type of blog articles which are quite simply, you know, selling people something. We're looking at a research article. A blog should be something that's helping somebody. So, you know, if you're looking at the features of something in a sales presentation, turn that into the benefits, maybe link it into a case study, look at those testimonials and look at what information would resonate with people. Now, finally, the process. Driving your audience to take a desired action is how content marketing is kind of measured. Reach, action, conversion, engagement. So are you getting subscribers? Are you generating leads? Are you getting more traffic? Are you reaching more of your audience through online visibility and SEO? Now, the next bit, go and have a look at some key content marketers. HubSpot. We know that 40% of companies are saying that they're having a document content marketing strategy in 2017. Have a look at businesses like Adobe. We also know that 79% of businesses plan to operate content marketing as an ongoing process, not simply a campaign. This is critical because this kind of comes into marketing automation, where you can be actually behavioral marketing and placing content when it's relevant at the time that someone's looking for something. So if they visit your website and go to a particular page 4 or 5 times, you can spark or generate pieces of content marketing at the time of interest. Simply Business is another one to have a look at. We know that businesses' top channels for distribution of content is things like YouTube, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, email. Now, Salesforce has been key in this because obviously as a CRM business, customer relationship management, they're really interested in sort of developing sort of lead generation and nurturing those relationships. So have a look at the content they produce. 40% of businesses say that strategy is effective in helping achieve content marketing goals, but we see so many businesses who don't actually generate that. Now, one thing that I said to you before that was really important is looking at the different sections that make up GASP and the actual journey that you're going to take. Now, let's look at the goals first of all. Now, what are we going to look at in terms of goals? We've given some examples here like brand awareness, lead generation, engagement, customer retention, customer loyalty, sales, building an audience or a community. The second thing is when you look at your audience, we've devised and given you an example here of a persona. This is Rachel, business owner, social media marketing, and a key decision maker. You need to explore and find out who your audience is. Now, storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to breathe life into your brand and often called one of the main components of a content marketing approach. Try and think about your storytelling. It's a bit like when we talk about blogs. You don't write in PR speak, you write in your own humanistic influencers kind of speak. You know, you storytell. That's what we buy. People buy people. And try and get that to resonate through your content marketing. Now, finally, the process. Planning should specify the details of the actual creation, the publishing and the distributing, as well as the measuring of the content marketing. Now, that was a quick whistle-stop tour of GASP, which is the Content Marketing and Digital Creativity Framework. Have a look at what the key skills are that you actually need in digital creativity. Quite often, people don't have the skills in-house for digital creative. It's quite simple to be able to kind of produce graphics and things on the back of a blog post or a social media if you have the right tools in place. Now, the last thing that we're going to focus on is the 7 Ds of developing digital skills. We'd encourage you to have a look at the series of videos within the online portal, the Digital Developer course. Also, try out the Digital Diagnostic Skills Audit. This is going to tell you exactly where you are and how you compare to your peers. It's going to identify any knowledge gaps. If you have any questions about digital marketing, get in touch. Through the portal, we've got a support group, we've got direct contact to me, the course tutor and director here at Business Consort. But we also have lots more tips, articles, webinars. We're adding to it day by day, month by month. So if you're keen to keep up with your digital skills, obviously sign into the portal. We've also got the pick and mix library. So if there's particular skills that you're lacking, you can actually add them through the pick and mix library. And you can tailor your own online learning portal and add content as you need it. So the next session in the series will be email marketing and lead generation. And any questions, feel free to post in the portal, or you can obviously get in touch with me direct through the portal.